The Canadian Hockey League on Rogers Sportsnet. Hockey that matters. The CHL on Rogers Sportsnet.
Welcome inside the Peterborough Memorial Centre, where today it's Game 2 of the Ontario Hockey League Championship Series, matching the hometown Petes and the defending Memorial Cup champion, London Knights. Hello everyone, Peter Loubardias alongside my partner Sam Cosentino. Sam, playoff hockey has a tendency to provide some interesting results and upsets, but here in the Ontario Hockey League at the league final time, it's number 1 versus number 2.
We've been very lucky. We're in Moncton on Friday night, and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League Championship features the top 2 teams in Moncton and Quebec. Well, we make our tour, and all of a sudden into the Ontario Hockey League, we find ourselves in a similar situation.
I'm not exactly sure what these two teams can do for an encore after a brilliant Game 1 Friday in London. 5-4 Peterborough, less than 3 minutes remaining in regulation, a power play and a goal by Dylan Hunter to tie the game at 5. This is the second overtime period, 6:02 in. Patrick Coletta pulled down, receives a penalty shot, but he's stopped by Adam Dennis. And then at the 14:20 mark of the second overtime frame, Coletta going down, banks it off Dennis for the game winner. And Peterborough, as a result, enter today's play with a 1-0 series lead.
JLC is such a tough place to win, and guys like Patrick Coletta, who go into the dirty areas on the ice, are sometimes rewarded with, well, let's say fluke goals, and that's very uncharacteristic for Adam Dennis to let in a goal like that, but a huge break for Peterborough to take that 1-0 series lead on the road.
Well, where the Peterborough Petes have played, you would find a lot of NHL scouts this season, and that continues here today. And the reason, number 11, another member of the Stahl family, his name is Jordan, and he's been terrific in this series and all season long.
No doubt about it. The 4th edition of the Stahl family, selected 11th overall by Sudbury in the Ontario Hockey League priority draft yesterday. We know about Mark Stahl, who's already in Sudbury. Everyone knows, especially after yesterday, about Eric Stahl. But Jordan Stahl brings a little different skill set. He has size. He has the ability to come off the boards. He's got great strength. He can shoot the puck. He has a wide array of skills, and for him, he will be a top 3 pick in the National Hockey League draft.
Did you say wide array of skills? How does this gentleman fit that bill?
Robbie Schremp has been unbelievable. In his career, started in Mississauga, moved to London, led the Ontario Hockey League in scoring, picks up 4 points in Game 1, now has 42 points to lead the Ontario Hockey League in playoff scoring as well.
The first round selection of the Edmonton Oilers, Rob Schremp, will try and find a way to beat David Schatz and even the series, and hoping to do the same, the opposing goaltender, Adam Dennis. The first period is next.
The Canadian Hockey League on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. For the past 7 years, Rogers Sportsnet has been the home of junior hockey's holy grail.
Celtic scores! It's over!
Find out who has the talent and tenacity to win it this year. The MasterCard Memorial Cup starts May 19th on Rogers Sportsnet.
No seats available on this day at the Peterborough Memorial Centre. Exactly what you would expect for Game 2 of the Ontario Hockey League Championship Series, matching the London Knights and the Peterborough Petes, our starting goaltenders. And we have a huge surprise brought to you by ADT, always there. Adam Dennis, the Memorial Cup MVP, is injured. 17-year-old youngster Steve Mason gets the nod in by far the biggest game of his life against a veteran in a second-round selection of the Florida Panthers in 2004, David Schatz. Our referees today are indeed Mark Hicks and Scott Hutchinson, the linesmen Kevin Hastings and Matt Traub. As a result of a 6-5 victory in London in double overtime, the Petes play today with a 1-0 advantage. And what a position, Sam, the 17-year-old Steve Mason is in today in a critical game for the Knights, who trail the set. Beaulieu, a long shot. Sean saw it all the way and makes an easy save.
Well, you talked about Mason, Peter. He has faced some pressure before. In fact, he led the Grimsby Junior Peach Kings, the Junior C team, to the finals last year as a 16-year-old. And although it's not quite the Ontario Hockey League, still a lot of pressure situations to be in. Did a good job in doing that. And hey, NHL scouts know about this guy. He's the 9th rated goaltender in North America as far as central scouting is concerned. So he is without a doubt on the radar of everyone. He just hasn't played a lot because Adam Dennis plays a ton, like a lot of the top players for London do.
And two of those top players on the ice, rookie Sergei Kostitsyn and Rod Shrimp, and already a penalty to the Petes just 36 seconds in to the opening frame.
Not the way you want to get things started if you're the Petes. You have a rookie goaltender in there that you're facing, and then what you do is go to the box first and give London's vaunted power play an opportunity to maybe ease a little of that pressure, and it'll be a charging call. But will go against Peterborough. And while London's power play, if you're an opposition team coach, you never want to see it.
Patrick Coletta, the overtime hero on 3 different occasions, including the double overtime winner on Friday night in London, takes a seat. And the vaunted London power play goes to work, although it hasn't been quite as good in the playoffs as it was during the regular season. A matter of fact, by London standards, Sam, they've struggled on the road at just over 18%. And this is a team normally around 27, 28, 30, no matter what rink they've been in the last few years.
And I think, Peter, it's one of those situations where you look at it and say, and you look at the numbers and you extrapolate as much as you want to, but the simple fact of the matter is there are 5 very talented players they throw out there and throw them out there for 5 minutes at a time.
And the Petes penalty killing not as proficient as they would like in the playoffs at 78.5%, although as Dale Hunter looks on, they did kill off 10 of 12 London power plays in the series opener on Friday.
I talked to Jamie Tardif before the game, captain of the, one of the veteran players and the captain for Peterborough, and he said, hey, we did a good job in the PK, but we can't give them that many opportunities.
Jordan Stahl makes an excellent play at the line, but here's Adam Perry, the younger brother of now Anaheim's Corey Perry, a former London star in his own right. Aaron Dotson attempts to clear. David Boland holds it into the line, banks it off the boards, and Adam Perry tries to jam it home on the short side. Shrimp, the saucer pass, Kostitsyn will return the favor. Shot is blocked, belongs to Boland. David Boland to the line, and Kostitsyn. He has some room, fires it, rebounds, scores! Dylan Hunter on the power play, and 1:59 in. The Knights own a 1-0 advantage.
And that's just the thing we talked about here. Peterborough, you get a penalty very early in the game. You give this vaunted power play an opportunity to go to work. Kostitsyn finds a lane, and the pad rebound. Shantz has trouble finding it, and Hunter's sitting there on the doorstep. Nobody takes him. This shot is cleanly stopped, but the rebound control, and that's been an issue for a long time for David Shantz, is what fools him here. And by the time he finds it, it's too late. Dylan Hunter has already put it behind him.
His 8th postseason power play goal, and exactly the start the Knights wanted, especially with the goaltending scenario the way it is, having to play the youngster Mason. Brings us to our keys to the game, brought to you as always by Yamaha, manufacturers of the world's finest recreational vehicles.
Well, Steve Mason, can he be a brick wall back there for London? How many pucks is he going to face? Can he respond to the challenge? And for Peterborough, SpongeBob square corners. This building has a decided home ice advantage for the home team because the corners are very square. You'll see a lot of funny hops. You'll see some very interesting dump-ins, and Peterborough may be able to take advantage of that because London, being in the Western Conference, gets to play here once during the regular season.
And the Petes are a perfect 8-0 in the postseason as Mason tested by Scott Cowie on the ice with Caruana and Justin Soriel, kind of the 4th unit for Dick Todd's team. Dylan Hunter as the game's opening goal, is 13th of the playoffs on the power play from Sergei Kostitsyn and David Boland. Petes make a line change as Jordan Foreman back to collect it. He scored a pair of goals in this building in the lone regular season meeting on March the 2nd, one that the Knights won by a count of 4-2. Beaulieu in front, intercepted by Morrison as Chris Bellin throws a nice hit on Steve Downey, but it's going to result in a London penalty.
Bellin will go to the box. It's what you call finishing your checks, and what used to be called finishing your checks, and very rare you see 2 charging penalties to start a game. Bellin will be called for the charge here, and after the puck had left Downey, Bellin continued on what a lot of people would say is finishing your check. Instead, it's called charging, and now Peterborough gets a chance to test the young netminder.
The Petes were 2 for 7 on the power play in game number 1. Believe it or not, their power play has even been better in the playoffs by percentage points than the Knights, who already have connected in this game with a man-power advantage. Trevor Hendricks threw a screen. Mason found it and made the save as Boland clears it the length of the ice. Reddix, Hendricks, Steve Downey, the Canadian national junior team star, Daniel Ryder and Patrick Coletta on the Pete's power play. Ryder handles on the end boards, greeted by Calgary first-rounder Matt Pellick, who is strong and tough. Reddix rink wide for Trevor Hendricks. Hendricks, his pass gobbled up by Boland, and he'll clear it. Look out. Liam Reddix lucky he didn't take that in the face, got his glove up just in the nick of time. Coletta's pass finds Downey. Reddix on the blue line for the power play, cleared and just out as it hopped over the stick of Hendricks.
Yeah, the play of Peterborough very disjointed right now on that power play, unable to get in and get things set up. We saw on the very initial chance they were able to set up that umbrella, get a shot on goal. The next 2 times down, they've tried to pass and get cute. I would think you'd want to get a lot of shots at the young goal.
Lubomir Stock takes that advice, and it's Mason who makes the save, and maybe more importantly, with Coletta bearing down, does not allow a rebound. And I believe referee Mark Hicks is about to issue more penalties.
A lot of traffic in front of the net. Coletta is the guy that you usually see in that area. Stock finds the lane, he decides to get it on goal and heed the advice of getting a lot of shots on goal. It's one thing to do that, it's another thing to get traffic in front of Mason as well. Lubomir Stock finding the lane, taking advantage of it.
It's actually 1 penalty, and it's going to Ryan Martinelli. So for 35 seconds, the Petes will enjoy a 2-man advantage. Trevor Kell, an important face-off win for the Knights.
Try and kill that final 30 seconds of the 2-man advantage and then take your chances a man down.
Jamie Tardif, one of the playoff leaders in power play goals with 6, back to the line, and Peterborough looks nervous in the opening moments of this big game. Reddix, plus 11 in the postseason for Jordan Morrison, puts on the brakes. The Pittsburgh draft pick Morrison. Chris Bellin's penalty has expired, and again, the Petes just are not crisp.
A little bit of panic on the part of Reddix there as well.
Here's Hunter shorthanded. He has the game's only goal. Patiently to Trevor Kell, and Kell has played a lot of defense this year. Some injuries, like the one to Frank Redeker, so he's been used in a lot of different roles by Dale Hunter, and has done a nice job on the back end.
It's funny, Peter, they asked him to do that in training camp and actually started the year out that way, and then said, well, you know what, we think we're okay back here, we're moving back up to forward. Well, again with the injuries and a bit of weakness on the part of the London blue line, he's had to play defense and respond as well.
Doc, a shot through a screen. Here's Aaron Dawson, who's been a bit of an offensive surprise in the postseason. Wraparound, loose in front. Tardif just fails to jam it in on the short side. 30 seconds to go on the man-power advantage. Oh, there's a nice turn by Dawson. He finds Tardif in front for Ryder. His stick tied up effectively by Hunter, and that will allow Drummond to skate away, and now there's a Peterborough penalty. Drummond, a second opportunity, stopped by shots. Still 13 seconds remaining in the penalty to the Knights, Martinelli. So London that far away from their second power play chance, and a squandered opportunity for Peterborough.
I think the officiating crew is setting a tone very early on in this game. Hey, we're not going to tolerate anything. We're going to call it as the book calls for it at the start of the year, and they have done that, calling exactly to a T. A lot of penalties so far in the early going.
Hunter, Schremp, Kostitsin, and Boland, so they get set for the power play, even though they're at 4-on-4 for just a few more seconds.
These guys are used to getting a lot of ice, so in this situation, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
They're going to debate this icing call, feeling like the London player Martinelli had stepped out before the puck crossed the end line, but not so. So a faceoff will come back deep. London scored on their one power play shot, the goal by Hunter, and they're back on the power play again.
Well, you just know how important faceoffs are when you get that much of an argument on a call that was a bang-bang or a very close call. Every single faceoff extremely important in these playoff games.
Kostitsyn, 34 points so far for the rookie from Belarus. Bolin and Kostitsyn, as London always operates with 5 forwards. Bolin through a screen. That's a heck of a stop off the blocker of shots. Bolin really pulled the trigger. Kostitsyn, big rebound. Schremp in hot pursuit. Boland, he'll drive it low. Off the inboards, Hunter had a whack. It's still loose in front. Schremp now, that hit. Brian Young, and another Oiler draft pick, and Liam Reddix clears at the distance.
We saw Robbie Schremp at the very end of the warm-up take about 10 pucks, go to the top shelf with each one of them. He tried to do that on that occasion, but it was blocked.
Offside at the line, Dick Todd was complaining, hoping for an interference penalty on the Peterborough native, Adam Perry, but not so.
David Bolin can really fire it, as can Robbie Schremp, but Bolin gets a good chance here on the pass from Kostitsyn, gets to the dot, unleashes a cannon. David Shantz asked to respond once again, and these boards are very liveliest behind the goaltender. You'll see those pucks really fly out, as that one did there. That can be force your goaltender to have to be very quick in getting post to post if the puck comes out from the other side in the backboards.
Kostitsyn in his own zone started this playoff on an 11-game streak in which he connected for 27 points. Been very impressive.
And I think, Peter, he has probably been the most valuable player for London in these playoffs. At a time when Robbie Schremp was having trouble finding the net goal-scoring wise, it was Kostitsyn able to pick him up on many occasions.
Hard to believe, Schremp, who leads the playoffs in scoring, actually went 9 straight games without a goal in this postseason. Kostitsyn, tail end of a power play as it's cleared out and down the ice. And Peterborough back now at full strength. Quite a beginning here in Peterborough in Game 2. Brian Young plays it, Kostitsyn, and now it belongs to Jordan Stahl at his 9th and 10th playoff goals Friday in the win in London. And this young man can be a bit of a man-child at times with his skills, size, and strength.
Never looks like he's going fast because he's such a big guy. Watch it through the neutral zone. He walked around Robbie Schremp in his own zone, took that puck a different way through the neutral zone, and able to create a good shot on goal.
It's that long stride with that 6'4" frame. Schremp. As Foreman took quite a wallop on the end boards. Downey for Jordan Morrison. His backhander steered by the youngster Mason into the corner. Greg Stewart with Morrison and Steve Downey for Peterborough. Downey back to the line for Lubomir Stock, the former Guelph Storm in front. It's tipped and turned aside by Mason and scooped out by Ryan Martinelli. Stock, an impressive +12 so far. Lets it go. There's a big rebound, but Martinelli able to hold off Greg Stewart.
Oh, they love him here. As soon as Stock touches the puck, you hear the Lou, and it's not for Peter Loubardias, unfortunately. It's for Lubomir Stock.
14 points to go along with that +12 rating. Only Bob Sanguinetti of Owen Sound has more playoff points as a defender. Jamie Vanderveken, Velen, and Foreman as Downey breaks it up. Quite an opening 10 minutes to this first period. Dylan Hunter's 13th of the postseason on a power play has London in front. Haletta with a huge hit on David Halak behind the net. Haletta, the Buffalo draft pick, loves to play the game with an edge. Reddix off a body and out of play. Ooh, what a start. Hunter has London on the board. CHL Top Scorers brought to you by CGC, the leaders in the wall and ceiling industries.
Owned by Quebec and London. Alexander Radulov, we got to see him on Friday night. What a fantastic talent he is. 46 points. Robbie Schremp with 36 assists, has 42. Matthew Melanson with 23 goals for the Quebec Rampart. Patrick Coletta is one of those players who's never afraid to go to the dirty areas and never afraid to miss the opportunity to make a big hit, as he did on David Bloch. And I think on that shift right there, you saw a lot of what Peterborough is going to start to try and do. Get the puck in deep, forecheck the defenseman, try and get turnovers that way, use the speed and size of the big forwards.
Jamie Cardiff for Peterborough at Jordan Stahl and the Swedish-born Fredrik Naslund.
He too has become a fan favorite here in Peterborough. They love fast Fred.
Cardiff with a little room. Matt Pellick, a nice job to close the gap in a hurry. On a one-time Calgary draft pick by a first-round Flames pick in Pellick. Cardiff to the line, and Hendricks a blast. That hit Adam Perry. The puck sent over the glass and on a play, and that's going to result in another Peterborough manpower advantage.
You know, as much as a lot of people don't like this call, the one thing about this penalty is that it's black and white. When it happens, it's a penalty. There's no doubt about it. Here, very clearly a penalty as the puck is blocked, and then on the clearing attempt, up and over the glass, without a doubt, a penalty. It's a black and white situation. When you do that from the defensive zone, it costs you.
Peterborough with their third power play opportunity. On the ice with Downey, Ryder, Coletta, Lubomir Stock, and Trevor Hendricks. Ryder down low for Downey. Look for the return feed, but Arson with good stick and body position for the Knights. Cross ice feed, Hendricks, I believe Mason got a glove on it. And then it steered the distance.
Peter, you have to wonder if Peterborough's power play hasn't changed a little bit, or will be a little bit confused by the left-handed Steve Mason there.
Right-handed catching glove for the young 17-year-old from Oakville. Daniel Ryder from Bonavista, Newfoundland. His shot is blocked. And of course, the younger brother of Montreal's Michael Ryder. He's an excellent player. The younger one, Coletta, Ryder, he scores!
Well, there's no doubt about it. Ryder has been a big player all season long for the Peterborough Petes. And much the way London scored its first goal, Peterborough responds on a power play off a rebound. And you smelled the blood. You saw Peterborough smell the blood. When that puck got down low, that was it. Peterborough really collapsed the net here, and that's something they're going to want to do against Mason. Failed clearing attempt is what results in this goal. The original shot on goal by Downey, and Ryder follows it up. How big is it that you're able to keep the puck in on a would-be clearing attempt? It goes off the skate of Hunter and bounces right back out on to the stick of Daniel Ryder.
Daniel Ryder with the goal now has points in 11 consecutive playoff games. And his power play marker has drawn the hometown Petes even at one apiece. Here's Ryder. Reason to celebrate. The next edition of Sportsnet News comes your way tonight, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, with Brad Fay among the items. Well, we'll keep you posted on what's happening in the National Hockey League postseason as well. Steve Nash, for a second consecutive year, is the NBA's most valuable player. An incredible athlete. The Canadian does it again.
They win in Game 7 last night, coming back against the Lakers. Nash had a big hand in that.
From a 3-1 series deficit the Suns did, led by Nash, who's not exactly 100% healthy. This game is 100% healthy, and it's even at 1, thanks to Daniel Ryder's 12th. On the power play is Jamie Cardiff with a good opportunity from close range.
Good job cutting through the middle, working off the sideboards and gaining the zone with speed is Tardif. Gets that speed up over the line and going for that top corner blocker side. And again, I think shooters, they get used to shooting on a goaltender and they're saying, oh, this is glove side, this is where I want to put it. Well, all of a sudden now with the inverted blocker glove of Steve Mason, things have changed around a little bit.
Downey drawing one assist on the goal. The other belonged to Patrick Coletta at 11:54. Here's Downey. Slides off the tip of his stick, and yet another penalty. This one going to the Knights for cross-checking. So after a great start for the Knights and a slow beginning for the Petes, it's really turned around.
Well, Martinelli will go to the box. We talked about these square corners. Look at Martinelli. Get rid of that puck. It goes right back out in towards the center of the ice. And that's the one thing that players will have to be mindful of as Martinelli draws the penalty there in front of the net with the cross-check. Pucks will come back and gravitate towards the center of the ice because of these square boards. Keep an eye on them.
Downey thought about it down low for Ryder, whacking away at it. He scores! Daniel Ryder's second power play of the day, and it's 2-1 Peterborough.
Didn't take long. Peterborough able to get possession off the draw. And Peter, earlier in the game, we've talked about how important the face-offs are, where Peterborough's able to win it, and they're working that sideboards. Downey sets up shop there. There's so many options when you do that. If you're Downey and you have space, you can come off the sideboards and shoot it, or you can fake the pass towards the middle, get it down low, and now take your chances on the hack job, if you will. But even when Ryder gets it down low, he has options as well. His option that time was to take it towards the net. When you're a goaltender, you get down in that spot. Well, really, if you get a good shot off from that angle, the goaltender has no choice. There's going to be a rebound far enough away from him where he can't cover it, and Ryder took advantage of it.
The Petes' leading scorer during the regular season and in the postseason has 2 power play goals, and Peterborough on top for the first time. Loose now for Dylan Hunter. Behind his back, Boland an opportunity. It's blocked by Brian Young. Are we staring another 6-5 type game in the face? Coletta collides with Trevor Kell. There's that crazy bounce off the corner boards that led to a great chance for Peterborough. Downey, Coletta. Now it's Reddix, Ryder and Coletta. Downey did drive second as assist on that power play goal. And a penalty, this time on its way to the Peterborough Petes.
It's Robbie Schremp who gets tripped up in the neutral zone. It'll be an interference call against Ryder. And see what Dick Todd's trying to do, really build on that momentum with that Ryder line out there. Well, they get a little too rambunctious in the neutral zone. Robbie Schremp gets upended because of it. As the puck is turned over, right there, not near the puck, he gets bumped off it. That's where the penalty is.
Fans here in Peterborough didn't like it. Wouldn't expect them to. A third power play crack for the Knights, and they are 1 for 2. They scored the game's opening goal early, less than 2 minutes in, courtesy of Dylan Hunter, is 13th. Hendricks with all kinds of time and space to clear it on Steve Mason in a very difficult position, playing for the Memorial Cup MVP of 1 year ago, Adam Dennis. Here's Trump, a rocket from just inside the line.
Scary how hard he can fire the puck.
Boland, Adam Perry sweeps at it, and it just came outside the line. 44 seconds in to the power play.
What a great rising to the occasion that Adam Perry has had throughout these playoffs. Talk about his brother Corey Perry and all the success he had with London. Well, Adam Perry has really responded well, getting a lot of ice time, seeing tons of power play time, and now on that power play unit with 4 other very talented players.
There's an excellent chance for Adam Perry. And one thing about the Perry family, they have good hands, because Adam has excellent hands and has enjoyed a fine season, as Sam alluded to. 70 plus during the regular campaign for Adam Perry. Boland, Kostitsin. Schremp, one-timer, good shoulder save by Shots. Schremp handles for Kostitsin. Down low, Hunter wants Adam Perry. He's upended. There'll be another Peterborough penalty.
Be a cross-check, and talk about Adam Perry just moments ago and the great hands he has. Well, he gets in that area where he's trying to utilize those good hands, and as a result, with this stick being tipped in front off the stick of Hendricks, that forced everyone to move blocker side, even the goaltender Shantz. And when that happened and the puck stopped in front of the net, Shantz had already slid to the far post. Well, the only option there for Downey to remove Perry out of the way and keep him from scoring was to cross-check him and get him off the puck.
Downey does get the gate this time for cross-checking, so the Knights will operate with a two-man advantage for 34 seconds. So important again when you're in that situation, deep in your own zone, to win a face-off, and that's what Peterborough did. Up the middle, good stretch pass for Kostitsyn, ran into Hendricks, and now the Knights will have to regroup in neutral ice.
That's why Jordan Stahl is so highly regarded, because he can do everything.
Dylan Hunter into the corner for Robbie Drummond, has 8 playoff goals. Hunter and David Bolin, a little trouble with the puck, greeted by Hendricks. The one Peterborough penalty has expired. Hendricks shoveled it to Ryder, and Ryder cleared it into the bench. And they dispute that at the Peterborough bench.
Now Dick Todd is arguing here, and so too is Justin Caruana, saying, hey, that puck didn't hit anything. Well, they're saying it hit Caruana's stick. Again, that's going to cost you an extra few feet on the face-off. So already disputing a couple of calls here made by the linesman. There's some kind of intense in Peterborough. I mean, we got a chance to talk to Jeff Toohey, the GM, before the game. Is he wound tight or what?
Like a drum.
Wow.
Here's Shrimp in full flight. A step on Sescon. What a pass! Dylan Hunter well over top of the net. Well, the skills that these young people have never ceased to amaze me. Here's Bolin. Adam Perry on this London power play. Brian Young shovels it. Shrimp again, nifty to Kostitsyn. For Bolin, one-timer, rebound in front. Excellent play. Perry backhanded it wide. How about the play Brian Young made on the stick on the doorstep with the net wide open? Can't wait to get another peek at that.
That's what London wants you to do. They want you running around in your own end. They don't want you set up.
Shrimp in front, Perry redirects it, and David Shantz is starting to make a difference in this opening period.
They can see the intensity of this game really starting to pick up now. David Shantz so good in goal right now. He gets down low and covering the lower part of the net. The key to their power play is David Bolin. Once the puck gets back to him, all things start to break loose. It's Adam Perry with the good chance here. And a little earlier, you saw Bolin working down low on the one-time. Perry, great mindset. Instead of trying to jam it in where Shantz is in front of him, he decides to pass it across the crease. Dylan Hunter just missed it.
How about the stick left by Brian Young, preventing Dylan Hunter from the easy tap-in?
What a great play by Perry. To have that kind of presence in front of the net as a young player, realizing that Hunter's there. Hunter has made a living this season parked in that very spot. Peterborough and Brian Young very mindful of that.
And an equally impressive play by the Edmonton draft pick, Brian Young. Peterborough able to kill off the two-man London advantage. Shrimp still on the ice. I think he plays about 50 minutes a game.
That's in a 40-minute game.
Here he is, still wheeling and dealing. Unbelievable feed in front off the stick of
And it
Dylan
always
Hunter.
lands flat.
No one saucers a puck better in the CHL than Rob Shrimp. Trevor Kell backhands it no farther than the line. I don't know if it's that we're so close in proximity here in Peterborough, but this game seems like it's being played at 212 miles an hour, which means we need a break. The 2006 Memorial Cup will be played in Moncton. We'll get you set with an hour-long preview show Thursday, May 18th, and then the big dance. 4 teams vie for the CHL title May 19th, when the winner of this series will face the host Moncton Wildcats. Saying that we can't wait would be a small understatement, wouldn't it?
That's going to be fantastic this year. Very evenly matched.
Certainly would appear to be if our travels let you in on any secrets. There does not look to be a lot to choose from, no matter who ends up being the 4 teams. And we already know that Quebec and Moncton will be there. We don't know who will represent either the Ontario League or the Western Hockey League, where Vancouver has a 2-0 lead on the Moose Jaw Warriors. But you know, tomorrow and Tuesday, they'll be ready at the Crush Can. And I know 2 gentlemen who will be ready to sit back and enjoy it, too.
It'll be a blast. It'll be our 3rd stop in the tour.
And here's a note to the fans in Moose Jaw. We want the whole circus the next 2 nights.
Bring it on.
Seen it for a lot of years. It's a great building to watch a game, the Moose Jaw Civic Center. And they've had a wonderful year there. Their first ever Eastern Conference championship. And the Giants are a terrific team. So are the London Knights and Peterborough Petes, putting on quite a first period show. In Game 2, Frank Rediker, so many injury problems in the last 3 years as he makes his first appearance of the game. Daniel Ryder has a pair of power play goals. Dylan Hunter has a power play marker for London. We're into the last minute of a terrific first period of playoff hockey. Hendricks and Ryder, as he's content to deflect it deep for Coletta. Trevor Kell off a stick, hits the glass high and stays in play as Drummond brings it towards Jamie Vanderveken. He performed in the Memorial Cup last year as a member of the Ottawa 67s. Drummond just avoids a big hit. Here's Liam Reddicks. Reddicks, what a spin move on Kell. Reddicks, can he complete the deal? He ran out of room. Now he'll shoot it. A penalty on its way to the Knights. Hendricks a blast from the short side.
It's that patience that got the penalty for Peterborough.
Martinelli touches after a sparkling individual effort by Liam Reddicks.
Spin move, they had everything going on there. Held on to it as Mason followed him right across. There's the spin, takes a slash, takes it out in front of the net. Mason won't give an inch there. Good job by Mason. Didn't overslide, very controlled in his slide. He's such a big guy, he doesn't open up any space. Look at the slide, absolutely perfect. There's no hole for Reddicks to go through.
He's going to be a good young goalie by the time he's done in this league. Thus the number 9 ranking. Hendricks late in the frame on the power play. That should about do it. Maybe one last shot, and there it was from Jordan Morrison. My friend, how do you enjoy that 20?
What a blast. I mean, you can't get any better than that. With the home team having a 2-1 lead, London's back against the wall, having to start a rookie goaltender. I think they fared quite well in that first period.
The good news is we have at least 40 more minutes coming our way. Great hits, 3 goals, all in the power play. The Petes lead it by 1. If there is a Game 6 in this London-Peterborough affair, you'll see it a week from today from Peterborough again. It's the CHL on Rogers Sportsnet. It'll be Game 6 of the OHL Final. In 2004-2005, the London Knights put together arguably the finest Canadian Hockey League season of all. A 31-game unbeaten streak to start the year. They capped it off with a win at home in the Memorial Cup. This season was thought by some to be a rebuilding year, yet heading into today's play, here they are again, 4 wins away from heading back to the big dance.
When the London Knights opened the season with 4 straight losses, the naysayers were quick to jump on Dale Hunter and his players. The sky is falling cries could be heard throughout the Ontario Hockey League, but in London, they were far from hitting the panic button.
Basically, we knew if we got our guys back that, you know, we'd be contenders again and be very competitive. And it was just a matter of time to get the other players back and just grooming the young guys in. And it's a tough start for these young players coming into the Ontario Hockey League. They don't know what to expect with the travel and the rests and the working out and practices. So tough start, but you know, we got through it, and now we're rolling again.
That role took them all the way to the OHL Western Conference Championship for the 2nd straight year. While key leadership has come from the veterans all season long, goaltender Adam Dennis feels the entire team has stepped it up a notch.
Our team as a whole, we all kind of chip in with the leadership. We got our captain Dylan, who's a great captain, and our 3 assistants are a great choice, but we had a lot of other guys that could have been real solid choices as well. And I mean, our team as a whole we got 24 leaders, not just 3 or 4 guys with the letters.
For Dylan Hunter, the pressure was a little different this year. The team took a vote and made him their captain, and it was a role that has given him a new outlook.
It's a change. I mean, when you have certain guys looking at you to maybe get a goal or get a spark for them, you know, it's a little more added pressure on you every game, but I enjoy it, and hopefully I can give them a good role model.
When the Knights won the Memorial Cup last season, many felt that it would be a few years of rebuilding before London would even be competitive again. So to entertain the thought of making it to the big show for a second year in a row seemed a little crazy. Rob Schremp made sure his teammates used the critics' comments as added inspiration.
It'd be awesome. You know, it'd be really good just because everyone counted us out so far this year. I mean, lately they've been, you know, wow, they really do have a team this year again. So. But before that, everyone's like, oh, London's going to be terrible. So it'd be good just to prove everyone that we can do it. You know, guys like Huntsy, myself, Bowles, Denny, we can do it again and take that pressure on and really rise above it.
For London sniper David Boland, a return trip to play for the Memorial Cup is something he'd relish. Most players are lucky to get one shot at the big prize, but a second journey would be even sweeter.
I hope so. From what's going on right now, I think if we keep it going, I think we could have a chance to go to Moncton and play for the Memorial Cup again.
Adam Dennis concurs. Winning it all once was a dream come true. Making a return trip is hard for him to even imagine.
It was the best feeling of my life last year winning the Memorial Cup, and have a chance to repeat that, but there's no words to describe it. It's just unbelievable.
Dylan Hunter has his 13th of the playoffs, but his team finds itself down by a goal after one. The play of the first period is brought to you by Easton Sports. The world's best players choose Easton.
Not often that in a matchup between two highly skilled offensive teams you get to see a defensive play, but that's exactly what we get for our play of the period. Brian Young, net side, takes the stick away from Dylan Hunter, and thus keeps the goal out and keeps Peterborough's lead intact, thanks to a pair from Daniel Ryder.
The Canadian Hockey League on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Welcome back to Peterborough. We're set for the start of the second period, but before that, let's check in on the first period scoring summary brought to you by Kumho Tires Canada and OK Tire. With over 260 locations across Canada, there is an OK Tire to serve you. Daniel Ryder, the Petes' leading playoff scorer, and during the regular season with a pair of power play goals that followed the opening goal on the power play from London's Dylan Hunter. The shots on goal quite even. And Peterborough opens period 2 on their 5th power play. And they're 2 for 4 with a man-power advantage. Patrick Coletta enjoying a wonderful playoff. The draft pick of the Buffalo Sabres. And he's from nearby Angola, New York. It's London who backhands it down the ice. Hendricks with Lubomir Stock, Ryder, Downey, and Coletta on the Peterborough power play. Drummond, Boland, Matt Pellick, and Trevor Kell to defend for the Knights. And this is a big early kill for Dale Hunter's team. Stock holds it in. Lubomir Stock from the Czech Republic has it one more time. One-time Ryder looking for the hat trick and didn't miss by much as it caroms all the way back deep in the Petes zone. Stock puts on the brakes and finds Stephen Downey, who has a couple of helpers in the game. His low shot through a screen found by Mason and cleared just past Reddix to center. Aaron Dawson scored 4 times already in the playoffs. He scored only 2 goals in all the regular season. Did big number 2 on the Petes defense, and he'll have to go back with Jordan Foreman on top of him, and Foreman always dangerous shorthanded. He scored 6 shorthanded goals during the regular season. That was 2nd in the league.
Well, Dawson, according to Jeff Toohey, the GM of Peterborough said he's been probably the most unheralded player in these playoffs so far. Just a big, steady guy. You get the same effort from him every night.
Stall to Jordan Morrison. Morrison, nice move, and a good stop by Steve Mason from close range. And Martinelli back on the ice, and the Knights have killed off the early Peterborough power play. The Petes lead the best-of-7 championship affair, 1-0, courtesy of a double overtime win Friday in London. Adam Perry's pass out of the reach of Rob Shrimp. Jordan Stall flips it towards Morrison. Scott Arson is there, and Shrimp collects it.
Good support by Shrimp to come and help out defense.
Good lead pass for Kostitsyn, who has a point in the game, and Brian Young knocks him to the ice. And there will be a penalty to the Edmonton draft pick, Brian Young.
Well, Peter, in much the same way London started this game with the power play, they'll be looking to equalize things here on another power play. I think starting to get nasty down there behind the play. You had Shrimp and Coletta going after it, and as the puck quickly moved up ice.
No, the penalty's not on Young. It's obviously away from the collision. So Craig Sescon, who led the entire Ontario Hockey League in penalty minutes during the regular season with 239, takes a seat.
Sescon, no stranger to the penalty box, and you see the trip right in front of the net. Ever so subtle, but very effective.
I was watching the hit and missed the penalty. That's why I thought it was going to Young. But the call on Sescon. And London back on the power play for a 5th time.
And the play had gone considerably up ice since the call was made, and that's probably what helped you in thinking that it might be on Young.
Well, it surprised me because I just thought it was a solid defensive play by Young. You look to do everything right. Is Peterborough penalty killing, and they send it the length of the ice. Steve Mason playing in place of an injured Memorial Cup MVP from a year ago, Adam Dennis. And Mason did not receive a lot of starts during the regular season. He was in this very same type of situation on February the 12th in a game we did on Rogers Sportsnet in Kitchener when the Knights were battling the Rangers for top spot in the conference in the division, and he won that game with an impressive performance.
He opened a lot of eyes, I think, in that game as well, Peter, and you talk about the Central Scouting ninth ranking, and he deserves it. He's good. He just hasn't had much of a chance to play.
David Boland, and there's a bounce off the boards, and it is so tricky and such an advantage, as you pointed out, Sam, for the home team here in Peterborough. The square corners and the end boards take crazy bounces. Shrimp, what a move. Still has it. He scores! What a goal by Robbie Shrimp to tie it at 2.
Come on. We want to talk about skill set. This is one of the things that Robbie Shrimp is so adept at doing, is being able to take that puck off the boards and then make decisions from there. You see Shrimp work off the sideboards, come to the center of the ice, stop, pop. Now he's got a lane that he creates for himself, avoiding the stick of Dawson. And when he has that lane from that close and the ability to shoot the puck as hard as he does, lights out. Forget it. All over. Robbie Shrimp in that area of the ice is one of the most dangerous players in the country.
7th of the postseason, his 4th playoff goal in terms of power plays in the postseason. He scored 38 power play goals during the regular season. That was an Ontario Hockey League record.
He does nothing but produce.
Eclipsing a mark of Tony Tanti back in 1980-81 when he had 37 power play goals with Oshawa as Drummond. An attempt to give London the lead, deflected out of play.
Robbie Shrimp, just such a gifted player, and saw him in Game 3 against Guelph, made a pass in that game that many have never seen before. But watch Shrimp work off the half court. You can't give him that kind of space. Peterborough earlier working that diamond penalty kill system, so they always had someone to pop out to the top. Well, London made an adjustment, said we're going to try and work this power play off the half court, and it worked well for Shrimp.
Jordan Foreman, backhander, hit Dawson. So a pair of power play goals now for each team, and they're both 2 for 5 with the man-power advantage. The last goal, Shrimp 7th, from Dylan Hunter and Adam Perry at 4:03. Justin Caruana on the ice with Scott Cowie and Justin Soriel. Checking in deep for the Petes. David Halash acquired in a trade from Oshawa at the deadline, tying up Caruana. Cowie on the cycle. Runs into Foreman. It's free at the side of the net. A couple of whacks. The second just wide of the short side post. And the puck is iced.
Peter, we've seen it already early in the second period. I think the message from Peterborough's coaching staff was to really crash the net. And this puck emerges from the corner. Watch all the white jerseys that get in on Mason. Good job battling down behind the net off the boards. Now the goal is to get the puck in front of the net and then crash the net. So Caruana gets his chance. 3 white jerseys go to the net to crash Mason.
Good shift by that line.
Get some energy. You can sustain a little pressure in there. You've really gained, it's like gravy if you're able to keep it in the offensive line with that line out there because they don't play a lot.
London's line that doesn't play a ton on the ice now with the likes of Drummond, Bellin, and Vanderveken, although they've all found a way to contribute.
Bellin is one of those players signed by London as a free agent. Again, one of those guys that London is so adept at getting to play for their team. Guys in those areas around London where maybe they get overlooked, and with all the knowledge and being in the Petrolia area, the Hunters really have a feel for what's going on in the area in the minor hockey system. They follow players, they keep in contact with them, and do such a great job at scouring the edges of London to find local players.
I'm almost more apt to take a look at who they picked from round 7 through 10 as opposed to 1 through 7 with all the great work they've done in that respect.
Well, we know Dale and Mark Hunter, who they selected in the first round, getting the 20th overall pick. They were able to pick Philip McRae, the son of Basil McRae, former National Hockey Leaguer and minority owner of the London Knights franchise.
Aaron Dawson banks it off those hometown boards, but London was ready that time. Reddicks, a shot handled easily by Mason, who steers it for Frank Rediker, a one-time Boston draft pick. Reddicks confronts Dylan Hunter and gives chase. Josh Beaulieu, he's a Philadelphia 5th rounder, number 10 of the Knights. Coletta hits the line with Reddicks and Ryder. Ryder with both Peterborough goals on the power play. Trevor Kell stolen by Ryder.
Ryder taking advantage there, dumping it softly into that corner once he got possession off the turnover.
Ryder always seems to be in good areas around the puck, in both ends of the rink.
And that's why, Peter, he was voted by Eastern Conference coaches in the Ontario Hockey League as one of the top 3 smartest players.
A 3rd-round selection of the Calgary Flames as it's deflected by a Chicago pick. Trevor Kell out of play. Robbie Schrempf, 7th, has tied it. One of my partner's favorite programs airs Sunday night at 8 Eastern. It's Sunday Night Baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Barry Bonds, Mr. Personality, taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Jays on Rogers Sportsnet comes your way tomorrow as the Jays conclude their set with the Los Angeles Angels. Or the, however you want to,
LA Angels
of Anaheim, or whatever. Just go back to Anaheim the way it should be. Or the California Angels.
Already, I like California.
Like the good old days. You'll be watching. Whoa. Puck cleared in. Robbie Drummond runs into Brian Young. Kostitsyn and Schrempf, who's tied it with a beauty here in the second period. What a pass from Schrempf to Drummond. And Shots with a fine stop from close range.
Peter, we talked about at the start of the broadcast how Robbie Schrempf has really chipped in by being able to assist. He uses the boards to pass it to himself. And when he does that, watch his pass off the boards. Banks it right here, and then he spins. Boom. Right out in front of the net for Drummond to get a good opportunity. Brilliant play by Robbie Schrempf.
Schrempf with his 43rd playoff point to lead all Ontario Hockey Leaguers in that category. He amassed 145 of them during the regular season. Vanderveken in front, Foreman a couple of whacks, and there's Shots standing his ground.
Jamie Vanderbeeken, one of those players who's bounced around the Ontario Hockey League. It all starts with Adam Perry, and then Vanderbeeken working behind the net simply throws it out front. Foreman gets one chance, but the lower part of the net is covered. So as the puck deflects in the air, Foreman takes another whack at it, but Shantz is quicker with the glove.
Jordan Foreman had an excellent regular season with 29 goals, the Cambridge product. Has managed just one so far in the playoffs. Stahl and Pellick along with Martinelli. Here comes Jamie Tardif, the captain. Banks it off the side of the net. Tardif one more time. Sescon at the blue line. Blocked by Adam Perry. Sescon lets it go, turned aside neatly by Mason. Vanderbeeken having trouble locating it. Runs into Fred Naslund. And Matt Pellick will carry into the zone. Matt Pellick, a shot over top of the net. He scored just once all season.
He's not used to being down that low with a little space.
Look at that play by Jordan Stahl. But back defensively this time as the forward is a quick shot from a sharp angle, almost surprised Mason. Not to mention the play-by-play announcer as it's offside at the blue line.
Lubomir Stock is one of those players picked up at the trade deadline by Guelph, and Jeff Toohey identified that his team needed a puck-moving defenseman, and after having a couple of looks at him last year in Guelph, didn't think much of him. Watched him play a little more this year and identified him, picked him out as the guy they wanted to get, and were able to get rid of a couple of draft picks and acquiring Stock, who has been dynamite since being acquired.
Slider's pass intercepted and carried ahead by Chris Bellin, who runs into Aaron Dawson, the 6'5" defender. Checking from behind is about to be the penalty call. And Dawson is shaken up.
It'll go against Clark, and both Coletta and Dawson were back there in a couple of different instances. The original check is on Coletta. Dawson throws that check. Now it's Coletta who goes back to help out, and you realize there that he was going to get banged. It's the second occasion, the hit from Bellin on Dawson, that caused the injury, but the penalty will be the first one to Clark on Coletta. There's Dawson with the hit. That's clean. Now Coletta chases it. He realized something's going to happen here, and Clark bangs into him pretty good. The whistle was blown right after that had happened, and then Bellin follows it up with a shot on Dawson. Just a one penalty will be called, however.
I think there's been two penalties called against London. One for the check from behind, and the other...
Well, Bellin is gone.
Possibly for an elbow. And Dale Hunter, you get a pretty good indication of how he feels about that. He thought it was a dive. So Peterborough with a two-man advantage. Both are actually going to be called checking from behind. I thought the second blow might have been more of an elbow. But nonetheless, Bellin and Clark are in the penalty box, and the Petes with a glorious opportunity to regain the lead with a two-man advantage. That hurt Trevor Hendricks as it was cleared by Pellick. That stung him at the line. Look at this. Boland a chance, working 3-on-5.
Barely pulled the stick, Hendricks.
He's in some pain, there's no question. But he'll stay out there. Coletta carries on. Patrick Coletta runs into Matt Pellick. Pellick fell trying to throw a hit. Hendricks, cross-ice Stock, returns the favor. In front it goes towards Coletta in a battle. And it's Martinelli, I believe, down on the ice who gloved the puck underneath him, and the fans thought maybe that should have been a delay of game call.
Jumped on it and put his gloves right in front of the net. Trevor Hendricks will take the slap shot right off the left wrist from Pellick. You can see him shake the stick. Watch as he goes back. See him barely holding on to that stick, then Boland stops, pops, and spins, gets a good shot on goal. But once again, Shantz is very good at covering the lower part of the net, makes a nice pad save.
David Boland showed you why he scored 57 during the regular season and 130 points. Hendricks cranks it up, deflected by Jordan Stahl over top of the net. 54 to go in the two-man advantage. In a 2-2 tie, Hendricks down low, Tardif, and Mason makes a fine save off Jamie Tardif, who has all 6 of his postseason goals on the power play.
Well, Tardif has a couple of options here. Does he swing wide and try and get this puck by? Well, Mason then has to wonder what he's going to do. And he was this close to cheating off the post and opening up that hole for Tardif, but he outlasted him and had the shot hit him. Or Pella came in, tripped up Tardif at the end of the play.
Steve Mason gathers himself toward the face-off. This time Jordan Stahl very unhappy as he's waved in favor of Jamie Tardif versus David Boland. Controlled by the Petes. Hendricks a blast. That hit Stahl's stick and went to the corner. Lubomir Stock. Jordan Morrison returns it. Stock, wrist shot. Mason collected the puck. It hit him high in the chest, and then he used the big mitt to hang on.
Now on the 5-on-3 again, Peter, what we're going to see is Peterborough collapsing down low. They've really shrunk the power play area from the top of the circles in. Tardif is wide open net side looking for the pass, but it's Mason who's able to control the rebound and get the stoppage.
Stephen Downey, one hands it neatly to Coletta. Daniel Ryder with the 2 Peterborough power play goals already. Has it now. Coletta parked in the slot. Coletta drive. Nice defensive work by Pella. Spins, backhands, not out yet. Now it is.
Good chip by Hunter. Good determination to get that puck out.
One last rush with a 2-man advantage. Downey drops for Dawson. Aaron Dawson. And look at Dylan Hunter fall in front of it. Now there might be a breakaway at the other end. Clark and Bellin out of the penalty box. And it's Hendricks who slides back with some great defensive work from the veteran defender and Columbus 7th rounder. Big hit. And another penalty on its way as Coletta was crunched. And another charging call.
Dale Hunter absolutely incensed, charging, high sticking. You see him calling just about everything there. He got fished in is what Dale Hunter's trying to say, but Bellin comes across and labels Patrick Coletta. Coletta didn't see it coming. It's called a charge. An extra 10-minute misconduct was given to Bellin. He was ushered off the ice, but in the meantime, they'll serve the 2. And you can see Dale Hunter saying, hey, you got fished in there.
Dale just took a look on the nice replay screen right in front of him off our feed. Bellin with 2 and a 10-minute misconduct, and I know what the 10-minute misconduct was for. When Coletta was down on the ice, he went by and had a few words for him. Nonetheless, Peterborough back on the power play for an 8th time in the hockey game.
Coletta's one of those players that can really incite the opposition. He's not a fun player to play against.
They've had 11 power play shots to go along with those 2 goals. Reddicks, Hendricks, Morrison, Tardif parked in the slot and down low with the puck. Jordan Stahl fails to connect with Morrison, and Hendricks regroups.
Peter, when we were in Moncton the other night, Moncton was very dangerous short-handed. London has that very same capability.
Stahl as the fans start to get into it here in the 2nd period. Another interesting carom off those SpongeBob square boards, as you like to call them.
And that's exactly what these boards will produce. A, they will take momentum off a hard shot. B, they will send everything back towards the center of the ice. Doc Beaulieu, the assistant coach, told his goaltender, Steve Mason, before the game, hey, listen, let the puck come to you. Don't go out and play it, because if you do, it may surprise you and end up behind you.
David Boland throws his weight around, and the puck underneath Downey and Pellick, so another face-off. I knew coming into the playoff weekend that Dora the Explorer was going to pay a visit to Ottawa and interrupt that series against the Sabres. I didn't know SpongeBob was going to make an appearance here.
SpongeBob squareboard.
Yeah, I like that. Quite impressive. And the kids like it too.
They love it.
Stock. And Downey. Peterborough man power advantage. Down low for Ryder. Can he drive home another? Nearly did. Stewart, the other member of the trio on the power play unit. Dawson fails to keep it in. Runs into Bolio, and that's going to be an interference penalty, and now Dick Todd not very pleased to the Peterborough bench.
No one's ever pleased when a penalty, well, I shouldn't say nobody, but the team the penalty is called on never likes it. So Bolio just tries to bounce this puck off the boards and then go around his man Bolio, but the original letter of the law is interference there, because you're taking, the puck is past you, now you're taking the player out of the play by interfering with it. I mean, it is by the letter of the law, and you see that oftentimes on power plays, on chip-outs near the boards, because you have the inverted sticks. Now the defenseman's beat. He doesn't want to let the player get behind him, so he drags him down, or at least interferes with him.
4-on-4 hockey, and barring no more infractions, then London will go back on the power play and give the Knights a lot of credit. They killed off a 2-minute, two-man disadvantage and had to kill off more than a minute here. Rob Schremp's 7th of the playoffs on the power play has tied this game at 2. He now has 13 points in his last 5 games, coming off a 4-point performance in Game 1 Friday in London, his second consecutive 4-point effort in these playoffs. David Halash tangled with Stahl, and Sescon banks it out to neutral ice. Long lead pass, Foreman. Jordan Foreman lets it go off the stick. Halash backhands right on the tape of Tardif, and he's content to flip it out. And London now goes back to the power play for the 6th time. Bowling with Perry, Schremp, Kostitsyn, Drummond trying to get off. Adam Perry, what a pass for Schremp! Really good stop by Schantz. Stahl carrying it the other way. He scored a huge short-handed goal in Game 5, the series clincher against Barrie, in a 7-0 victory. His was goal number 2. Here's Hendricks. Throws a heavy jolt, Jason Smith-like, into Bolin. Schremp. Kostitsyn awaits and has the puck down low. Good stick position by Hendricks to deflect it out of play.
David Bolin came through the neutral zone with a ton of speed as 3 defenders were awaiting him at the Peterborough line. Once he gained the zone, he wanted to pull up. So this hit looks a lot worse than it is, because as he's pulling up, his momentum is already shifting backward, but Hendricks finishes him off. A little earlier in the fray, Robbie Schremp. Good chance, the puck just a little behind him, end on a nice look from Adam Perry from behind the net.
And a nice left pad save by Schantz to keep his team even. Peterborough leads this series 1-0. Schremp behind his back, and Dylan Hunter, who has the other power play goal today for London. David Bolin. Adam Perry towards Schremp, and now Kostitsyn. The penalty is expired. Schremp with a little room, cuts into the slot, through a screen. Schantz found it, stopped it. And this will be icing. The OHL Championship Series in Game 2, tied at 2.
A couple more penalties called as we went to break. At the end of the play, Hendricks and Bolin get tied up. Hendricks goes to the ice. Bolin goes to the bench. After that, a little confusion, but it is Bolin who goes to the box. Dale Hunter's got to be a little more pleased with the way things are going now after that last power play, expecting probably to get the next call too. And we've seen the mastery of coaches work the referees over the last couple of nights. Patrick Waugh, Eddie Nolan, Dale Hunter, and Dick Todd here today.
Pretty good coaches.
Legends.
And here comes Robbie Drummond. He has great speed. He shot, handcuffs. Schantz, and Pellick was robbed from close range. As Schantz recovered, and then Pellick nearly banked it in. And Drummond involved now with Lubomir Stock after the whistle with 4:51 to go in a 2-2 second period tie.
That's because of that extra shove at the end of the play. Well, the puck is turned over, and right away, London uses its speed to go down the ice. Now you'll see London get it in front of the net. That shot there with the slide, that's one that Shantz normally likes to direct in the corner. Well, that hook at the end of the pad drew that puck back towards the middle. The net almost overslid it. It lay on the goal crease for just a moment. That extra hack there by Drummond at the end of the play forced Shantz to get the slash in the back of the leg.
Trevor Hendricks is now making his way to the Peterborough dressing room. I wonder if he has picked up a 10-minute misconduct. Now, the penalty that he received was for unsportsmanlike conduct for a dive after he collided and went to the ice with Boland, who drew an elbowing penalty.
And again, what that means, anytime a diving penalty is called, you get the 2 minutes and you get the 10. And that's why you see 2 Peterborough players in the box until Hendricks is sent away.
That's a big loss for Peterborough. They have Hendricks out of the game for that amount of time. Jordan Stahl using his size and strength against Trevor Kell. Stahl, what a move, backhander! What an effort by the number 2 ranked player for the upcoming draft, Jordan Stahl. Brian Young in front. Tardif just fails to control it the way he would have liked. Scott Arson, he scored a London goal in the loss Friday in double overtime. His first since the 3rd of December. Kostitsyn fails to beat Ryder one-on-one. Ryder, a good low drive, looking for his 3rd of the day. Ryder to the line. Dawson, Lubomir Stock can't transfer it the way he wanted to.
That was dangerous. Kostitsyn's stick just missed that by about 4 inches. Would have been a breakaway the other way.
4-on-4 for 11 more seconds. Reddick's working diligently in behind the net. It's pinned. Play continues, now blown down by referee Mark Hicks. Or make that Scott Hutchings. Hutchings and Hicks working this game. And are there going to be some more penalties?
Stetson's going to go here for sure.
I think Reddick's is going to go too.
Reddick's can't believe it. He might get
irate.
Extra. He may get extra right here.
If this Ontario Hockey League Championship Series requires a 6th game in Peterborough, the good news is we'll have it for you. Next Sunday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. And if it's anything like the first 2 games in this set, you don't want to miss it.
This all happened at the end of the play. Reddick's and Robbie Schrempf were involved. Well, they gave each other a couple of love taps. Then it separated. Kostitsyn came in, administered a shot on Reddick's. Reddick's got him with another shot. They exchanged 2 or 3. Now both of them will go to the box.
I bet you right now, if you chatted with both Dale Hunter and Dick Todd, they'd like to take a page out of the old Bad News Bears breaking training when William Devane came on the ball field and said, let them play at the Houston Astrodome.
Oh, Kelly Luke.
Dawson watched closely by Robbie Drummond. Dylan Hunter with Boland and Morrison back with a good defensive effort. Tied up though. Boland, as Lubomir Stock has lost his stick. Don't try that 5 times in a row at home. Or that with 2:59 to go in period number 2.
Trying to get things figured out here. As the referee blew the whistle to signify the end of the play here. As they try and get the scoreboard figured out, whose penalties go where, have them get put up on the board so everyone knows how much time is remaining in the penalties. You know, they offset. The coaches both want to know when their players are eligible to come back onto the ice.
Reddick's and Kostitsyn for roughing at 16:38, the last 2 infractions that have now expired. Poor Scott Carruthers, our fine statistician. The wrist is sore. So much work.
Send him home with a bag of ice for the wrist.
He doesn't have far to drive. Frederick Naslund, Tardif was alone in front. Never got the puck. Boland leads the rush the other way. Hunter and Drummond join him. Jordan Stahl greeted by Dylan Hunter, who has his 13th of the playoffs today. Martinelli scoops it off the glass and out of play. Meshing there. Frederick Naslund, the 4th round pick of the Dallas Stars. He
He's one of those players that the fans have really taken a liking to. Has performed so well in the playoffs. You see the 4 points over the last 5 games. He's really improved his skating from the start of the year. That was the big knock against him. He has size, decent hands, but with the depth that Peterborough has, Dick Todd has been able to play him, work him in slowly, and develop him as his ice time has increased throughout the season.
5 goals and 5 assists in the playoffs. Coletta, Stewart, robbed by Mason. Terrific save by the 17-year-old from Oakville, Ontario.
The 17, you have to check his license, because as cool as this kid is back there, you have to wonder that he is really that young. This is a fantastic play through the neutral zone. Ryder to Coletta. Now it's a 2-on-1 to Stewart in front of the net. But Mason never panics. He reads the pass, slides over, kicks it aside so easily, and then London collapses defensively to help clear.
Greg Stewart must be wondering right now what he has to do to turn on the red light. The Montreal draft pick scored 24 times during the regular season. He has not found the net since the 23rd of February.
For a player of his skill, that's pretty tough to believe.
It is. He's a key contributor for this team the last couple of seasons. And he does have 6 playoff assists, but no goals in now well over 2 months.
And I think, Peter, it really speaks to the depth of Peterborough. When you have a high-end player like that who's not contributing on the goal sheet and you're still having success, it speaks to the depth of your team.
Trevor Kell. David Bolin looking for the long lead pass, but it's blocked by Daniel Ryder. We'll hear from him coming up in our second period intermission. Stock moving toward the net. Back pass, what a play! They score! Patrick Coletta, but give all the credit to Lubomir Stock.
Jeff Toohey, the GM of Peterborough, said, hey, we got him to move the puck and be able to carry the puck. Well, Stock sees a lane and then takes advantage of it. And even with that little reach, after he picks this puck up in the neutral zone, even with the little reach he has, he still has the speed to get around everyone. When he does that, it's a no-look behind the back pass. Patrick Coletta going to the net, as he usually does. All he has to do is get a little stick on it. He indeed does that. And Coletta has scored some big goals for Peterborough all playoffs long. He gets another one here thanks to the help of Lubomir Stock.
What a sensational play on Coletta's 8th of the playoffs by Stock. His 2nd assist, and he now has 16 points to lead all defensemen in that category in the playoffs. And here comes Peterborough looking for more with just over a minute to go in the frame. Stewart runs into Martinelli, and Pellick calmly finds Drummond. How good a play was that by Stock? That might turn into a 7 of 7 tomorrow on Sportsnet News.
Credit to Stock with the recognition to see those holes and to take it up ice.
Puck deflects off a London stick out of play, so the faceoff will come outside the line. Stock will draw the assist on Coletta's 8th of the playoffs at 18:41, giving Peterborough the 3-2 advantage.
Fantastic play, and credit Coletta too. Going to the net, keeping the stick on the ice, realizing that even if he didn't get a look, at some point the puck may arrive there.
Pellick towards Kostitsin, and now David Bull. It's Ryan Young, flips it up. Tardif, an opportunity, blocked in front by Martinelli. Stock with a lone assist. Naslin, a chance, rebound. Another tremendous save by Mason from close range off Tardif. And Sam, maybe a game saver late in period 2.
Mason coming up huge for the London Knights, and again protecting that lower part of the net. Because he's big, he's allowed the license to go down and go down often and still cover a large part of the net. This puck is turned over again. London having a lot of trouble with those square boards. Naslin's shot on goal produces a rebound. Tardif gets 2 whacks at it. Yet Mason is still there to answer the bell on both occasions.
2 terrific saves by Mason.
And again, those boards wreaking havoc for the London Knights.
You know, I've been at a lot of games the last few years in this building. I've noticed more of that today than in any other game in this building I've ever seen in terms of the boards creating great offensive opportunities. And there's going to be yet another penalty called right as the buzzer goes, and London's not going to like it because it's going to Rob Schrem. which means the Petes will start period 3 with a lead and a power play.
London now showing its frustrations, and Reddicks and Schremp are both down there. Schremp still wants a piece of him. Gets Reddicks here, and then it's this shove at the end of the play. You see Reddicks jump up, maybe embellish it a little bit. Schremp grabbed hold of him, knowing that the penalty had been called, showing his frustration. Dale Hunter is just beside himself in the London bench.
Patrick Coletta's 8th of the playoffs. It's not the only thing that Dale Hunter is unhappy about as the teams head to the dressing room. 40 minutes in the books, and a lot of big hits and great action.
The second intermission, brought to you by Kumho Tire Canada and OK Tire. With over 260 locations across Canada, there's an OK Tire to serve you.
If this Ontario Hockey League Championship Series requires a 6th game, we'll have it for you a week from today, back in the same building, the Peterborough Memorial Coliseum, or at least Centre. The Petes and the London Knights. Daniel Ryder leading the way again today for Peterborough. He has his 12th and 13th goals of the year, or at least of the postseason, both on the power play, and they came 1 minute and 3 seconds apart in period number 1. And Daniel Ryder, the draft pick of the Calgary Flames, joins us now. Daniel, to begin with, why don't you take us through those 2 goals from your perspective?
Well, the first one was a turnover there at the blue line. I managed to keep it in, passed over to Downey, and he just put it on net, and lucky enough it came to me and I had the open net. For the second one, we were working around the power play. Stock made a nice pass there to Downey. He went down low and took 3 or 4 stabs at it in front, and lucky enough it went in too as well.
Daniel, one of the things that impresses me so much about you is your knack to know where to go without the puck. Where did you learn that skill from?
I don't know. I just trust my instincts, I guess. Just go around looking for the open space on the ice, and puck finds to see me sometimes, finds the get me sometimes.
Well, there's not much doubt about that the puck seems to locate you. You've had quite a run here in the playoffs. You have points now in 11 consecutive games. Are you playing the best hockey of your young career right now?
Yeah, just trying to do my best out there, help the team win. That's what it's all about. Just going out every night, trying to make a difference, and this seems to be working so far.
Well, Daniel, as you look at this game, a lot of penalties being called. What's going to be the key for Peterborough into the 3rd period?
Just stay out of the box. That's what we're trying to do the whole series, but not seem to be working, but it's being called both ways, so both power plays are doing well. I think we just have to stay out of the box here in the 3rd and keep the work ethic up.
Daniel, thanks so much for this. I know the people in Newfoundland have enjoyed your work today and will continue to as these playoffs continue.
Yeah, I'd like to say hi to everyone back home in Newfoundland and say add on to the boys.
As only a Newfoundlander can. Daniel Ryder with his 12th and 13th of the postseason. A huge reason the Petes lead London by 1 after 2.
For the past 7 years, Rogers Sportsnet has been the home of junior hockey's holy grail.
Celtic scores! It's over!
Find out who has the talent and tenacity to win it this year. The MasterCard Memorial Cup starts May 19th on Rogers Sportsnet.
A Young fan. I thought it was a Brian Young fan with number 5 on one side of her cheek. And they're enjoying themselves in Peterborough today, where the Petes trying to take a 2-0 series lead in this OHL Championship Series. It's been an entertaining 40 minutes. There have been 5 goals, and today it started early, and it started with a London power play goal.
And the Knights needed that. They realized that they had a 17-year-old in net, wanted to get off to a good start. 30 seconds in, Peterborough takes a penalty. Kostitsyn with the shot. The rebound comes out to Dylan Hunter. He's made a living there all season long. That made it 1-0. And then Daniel Ryder goes to work off the rebound, taps it in, and it would be Ryder who would put Peterborough ahead with his 2nd goal of the game. Again, working on the power play from down low. The old jam sandwich, 3-4 whacks at it. The 3rd one is finally good. 2-1 Peterborough at that point. Well, we move to the 2nd period. Robbie Schremp, one of the finest goals we have seen all season long. Stick handling in the phone booth before beating David Shant's low blocker side to tie it at deuces, but Peterborough would respond once again. Lubomir Stock with a fine assist. A no-look pass behind the back, and they're trailing. To pick up the goal is Patrick Coletta, who's been the #1 enemy against London here tonight.
has the go-ahead goal and scored at 14:20 of double overtime in Game 1 on Friday night. Did Patrick Coletta, the Buffalo Sabres draft pick. The second period scoring summary is brought to you by Bauer. From Kelowna to Halifax, it's Game On at Bauer.com. 20 minutes remain in Peterborough, where the Petes would love to go back to the Memorial Cup for the first time since 1996. Peterborough 20 minutes away from taking a 2-0 lead in the best-of-7 OHL Championship Series, and they'll open the third period with Rob Schremp of the Knights sitting in the penalty box. Dale Hunter looks on, a big penalty kill for his team. Forced to do so now for the 9th time in the game. Stock, what an incredible play he made late in the period on the go-ahead goal by Coletta. Stock's second assist and 16th point of the postseason. There it is again. Crazy bounce out of the corner, and an opportunity for Dan Ryder, who has 2 today, both on the power play. Stock, Ryder, Downey, Coletta parked in front of the net. Reddix as well for Peterborough. And Reddix has the puck. The Whitby native. For Ryder. Back to Reddix. They exchange the puck. Down low it goes for Downey. Stuffed on the short side by Mason. Ryder now. Ryder takes quite a jolt from Pellick, who's able to clear it off the stick and out.
Peterborough again going to work on that half boards. Very disciplined on their power play and what they want to do here.
Coletta for Ryder. Breaking that up effectively is Dylan Hunter. Hunter short-handed, always dangerous. Are the Knights at any time. Hunter ragging some valuable time off the penalty clock here. Great work by the London captain and 9th round pick of the Buffalo Sabres in 2004.
Such a smart player.
Scott Arson finds Dylan Hunter, and he slides it the distance.
Comes by, and honestly, of course, with the bloodlines, the Hunter bloodlines, just has a knack to know where to go, and I love his effort. His work ethic is so good each and every night.
He doesn't take any shifts off, let alone games, Dylan Hunter. Cleared off the boards and out of play with 23 seconds left in the Peterborough power play.
Peter, we want to show you what Peterborough's doing here in the power play. It's all about the half boards. You'll see one of 2 players working that half boards. Either it's Ryder or Downey, and on occasion they will split. And then again, Reddix goes back, working on the half boards. Nothing doing there. Let's go back to the half boards again. They'll work it to the point and down low. It'll be Downey and Ryder who will be the 2 guys that end up with the puck. And their decision making, if it's good, then Peterborough's power play will be successful.
Stock moving laterally, locates Jordan Stahl. Stahl, a rocket of a wrist shot just over top of the crossbar.
Now you see a left-handed shot, Stahl. We switch to the other side, again work the half boards. Use Stahl's size, speed, and strength to make those decisions. They want the puck in his hands in the half.
Schremp's penalty expired. Tardif, wrist shot, rebound, and Naslin banged it wide with a backhand. Stahl runs into Pellick. Good hit by the Calgary first-rounder Matt Pellick. I like the way he's played today.
He plays with such a physical edge, and he is mean and nasty. Not someone you want to get involved with.
Stahl, what a move into the slot! That looked like it got a piece of the post and caromed up the other side. Jordan Stahl using that skill. Here's a 3-on-2 for the Knights. Kostitsyn, Schremp bangs his stick for the puck. Kostitsyn, that hit a leg and misfired. Naslin flips it high and out of the zone. Back comes Kostitsyn with his 34th playoff point today. Nearly located Schremp cruising in front, but Brian Young intercepted and has it again. Dawson off the chest of Arson. Jordan Morrison of the Petes with Stewart and Downey. Greg Stewart runs into Kostitsyn, continues to battle. Downey over skate of the puck, helps keep it alive. Prescott down the boards. Schremp with his 7th of the playoffs. Nice pass for Kostitsyn with Kell and Adam Perry. Kostitsyn trying to dipsy-doodle his way. Here's Perry alone in front. Great save, rebound. He scores Robbie Schremp's second of the day, and we're tied again.
That's got to be the scariest thing to see. Robbie Schremp, no one between you and the goaltender. And David Chance there left to his own devices, the former teammates in Mississauga. Robbie Schremp wins this battle. Good job in bringing it over the line. Now Peterborough has a chance to clear. Both defensemen are pulled out of the play. Well, then they have to collapse defensively with two forwards coming back. You see both Sescon and Stock out of the play. Morrison comes back. He takes care of Perry, but then still another wave in the form of Robbie Schremp comes up to bang home for a second of the afternoon.
Big-time players make big-time plays in games like this. And for the second time this afternoon, Rob Schremp has drawn the Knights even.
How often, Peter, do you see the trailer being the most dangerous man on the rush? Robbie Schremp was indeed that there.
After Shantz made a wonderful save off Adam Perry. Perry again, who draws an assist on the goal. Vanderveken backhands it down low for Josh Beaulieu. Beaulieu has a man in front. Rediker moves up. The Knights applying pressure, have some momentum after the equalizer. Adam Perry on the cycle with Beaulieu. Beaulieu spins. Nice play for Vanderveken and shutting the door with shots. Reddicks had not crossed center. No, they wave it off. Coletta first to the puck. Good call by the linesman to keep the play alive. And they freeze it for a stoppage. Schremp's 8th of the playoffs from Perry at 3:37.
I want to revert back to the goal and tell you why this happened. It's a play where Sescon and Lubomir Stock, the two defensemen on the play, get tied up. And once Sescon goes to the ice, he finds himself in a world of trouble. Good defensive play here, staying wide. Sescon and Stock get caught up. Adam Perry with one chance. Even Morrison, who did a good job recognizing that he needed to come back and help defensively, while no one was taking Robbie Schremp. There just wasn't enough players around at the time.
Jordan Stahl, puck knocked down with a high stick. 15-10 to go in regulation time. Rob Schremp now with 6 points in this set. A total of 44 in the postseason.
This time of year, you need your best players to be your best players. And I think we've seen a perfect example of that here tonight. Ryder has a pair for Peterborough. He was their best player all season long. Robbie Schremp, arguably their best player, or top two for London. He's got a pair here tonight.
Dylan Hunter spilled by Brian Young. Jordan Foreman almost found David Boland at the line. Sescon intercepts. Dylan Hunter and Ryan Martinelli. He scored a huge goal in Game 4 of the series against Guelph as he turns it over here, and Mason steers it into the corner.
Aslan might have got a stick on that too, but because it was along the ice, Mason had the bottom part covered.
Jordan Foreman with a little room to operate. Foreman from a sharp angle, changed direction a little bit as Kell slaps it in. Dylan Hunter, a loose puck, fails to center it in front. Has it again. Hunter turns in front. Good pass. Foreman can't shoot it on net. Boland can, and shots. Takes care of business.
Another good chance for London. Again, it's Dylan Hunter out there working so hard, the Buffalo draft pick, and there are a couple in this game. One who did not play, and Adam Dennis, who's injured, but Patrick Coletta, the other Buffalo prospect. The Sabres will be keeping their eye on this. Riding that 5-game point streak has been so good. And again, when we talk about your best players being your best players, 10 points in 5 games, pretty good for Dylan Hunter.
Lubomir Stock off the drop. Morrison, Downey. Stewart back out for the Petes. Kostitsin, Drummond, and Schremp. Look at that play. He is just magic with the puck. Almost turned that into another London scoring opportunity. Stewart in front, gobbled up by Arson, and now Drummond. He scored 7 times in the second round versus Owen Sound in a 6-game victory. Over the attack, Kostitsin, big hit on Dawson. Sergei Kostitsin cycling down low with Schremp and Drummond. Rob Schremp, back pass right on the tape for Arson, who let it go immediately, and Shantz turned it aside.
Dangerous but effective for Schremp.
just told you what they thought of that icing call. Rob Schremp, how about the reaction after the goal?
First round pick of the Edmonton Oilers, Robbie Schremp, has been sensational in the second period. Dipsy doodles around to tie it at 2, and then again, trailing by a goal, it's Robbie Schremp who goes to work once again. Left as the trailer on this play after Adam Perry misses. Schremp follows it up, his second of the night, and again, a game tire, a big one.
What a start to this series. Not only for Schremp, but just the whole affair period with a double overtime game Friday night, a 6-5 Peterborough victory, and now we're even again. It could be like that for 7 consecutive games.
Well, highly entertaining hockey. I mean, if you like the offensive side, what more do you want than the pass from Stock and the goal by Robbie Schremp?
Fantastic. More to come at the Memorial Cup that starts May 19th. We'll have it all for you from the Memorial Coliseum in that city. Starting May the 19th here on Rogers Sportsnet and in high definition. Patrick Coletta with Daniel Ryder. Broken up by David Halaksh, who joins the rush with Beaulieu and Adam Perry. Nice work by Beaulieu down the boards before Coletta knocks him down. Rediker. Beaulieu has a man in front. Tries to slide it to Perry. Vanderveken in pursuit before Brian Young clears it out of harm's way.
You got to look at the way this third period has been played. For the first 8 minutes, we had Schremp's penalty to start it, but since then they've been allowed to play, and it's been highly entertaining back and forth action.
Aaron Dawson paired with Craig Sescon, who has it to Frederick Naslund. Jordan Foreman scored a hat trick this year on Sportsnet February 12th in a big win against Kitchener. 2 of those goals came short-handed. Jordan Stahl, watched by Martinelli and helped out by Hunter, but not cleared. That may have been a 2-on-1 opportunity if the London Knight David Boland didn't stumble. And David Boland is in some real difficulty as he makes his way to the bench. And the Knights already playing today without one of the stars of last year's Memorial Cup, goaltender Adam Dennis, because of an injury. We'll keep our eye on Boland, the second leading scorer in the Ontario Hockey League this season with 130 points. Stahl, Tardif's in front, backhanded wide. Great opportunity for Tardif. Deflected and stopped by Steve Mason. Tardif again. Naslund in front of the net, wants the puck cleared down the ice and right to David Schantz, so no icing. Hendricks for Tardif. Trevor Kell nearly lost it. His defense partner Arson helped him out. Hendricks, actually an interesting story. He was selected in the draft twice by the same team. Columbus in 2003 and 2005. Went back in, they picked him again. We'll truly get you set for the 2006 MasterCard Memorial Cup with a preview show. May 18th, Thursday night, 7 Eastern, and Mountain at 6 o'clock Pacific time. And then, the tournament itself, May 19th. The Friday night starts a day earlier this year. It will be the host Moncton Wildcats against the winner of this OHL Championship Series to kickstart what should be a beautiful tournament.
Good recognition by Kell to keep that puck in.
Mr. Schremp looking for number 3 of the day, but David Schantz says no.
Look at David Boland trying to break out of the zone. Sescon pinches in for Peterborough, and when he does that, he has to do something to get Boland down. Well, he trips him up. Boland goes hard into the boards and remained down for a period of time. Once he was able to gain his own strength, he skated very gingerly to the bench where he has finally taken a seat. And if you know David Boland, it's not often he takes a seat during a game.
And if you know David Boland, somehow, some way, he'll find a way to come back. A very key member of Canada's gold medal winning team at the recently completed World Junior Hockey Championship.
He's so good, he could probably do it on one leg.
He has a tendency to get big ones, and he leads all playoff goal scorers with 13. Still in some difficulty, unfortunately for the Knights, at the bench. Drummond, Schremp, Kostitsin. It's Reddix, Ryder, and Coletta. And how good have they been today for this Peterborough team? Arson and Schremp off his stick, stays in play.
It's a nice combination, that line, Peter. If you look at Coletta, he brings the grit, he brings the physical part. You look at Ryder, he does everything well.
Drummond, 2-on-1, Kostitsin. Schantz didn't know he had it. He really thought that might have been behind him. But David Schantz keeps the game tied.
David Schantz keeps this game tied at 3. One of the things London can do is move the puck and move it with speed. Look at this breakout. Cross-ice pass, Schremp with the pause, goes to Drummond, and then at the end of the play, Kostitsin can't finish it off. But just like that, London goes through the neutral zone to create a good scoring opportunity.
Schantz reached in behind him, but the second-round pick of the Florida Panthers makes a huge save. Aaron Dawson notched an overtime winner in round 1 in Game 5 versus Ottawa. Might have been Peterborough's most difficult series. It went 6. Although take nothing away from the Barrie Colts, minus the deciding game. That was a very difficult battle.
We're here for Game 1, triple OT. A couple of other overtime games in that series as well.
All won by Peterborough. They won Game 3. That was a big one in that set because they trailed Barrie at home 4-1 before Coletta won that one 43 seconds into the extra frame as London buzzing looking for the go-ahead goal. And there's going to be a penalty, and I think it's going to the Knights.
Bolio will go to the box for goaltender interference. He goes through the crease and gets the shoulder right into the nugget of David Schantz. This puck comes through the crease here, and Beaulieu continues to try and bring it through the crease, while he makes no effort to get out of the way of Schantz once he loses the puck. Dawson gave him a little nudge, but Beaulieu added that extra elbow, and for that, he's penalized.
Peterborough with a couple of power play goals in the hockey game, both by Daniel Ryder. This is opportunity number 10. During the regular season, the Petes were 5th in the league on the power play at 20.5%. Coletta, diagonal dump in towards Ryder. Ryder Drummond trying to chop it past Reddix. Failed to, another chance. And it's Pellick who moves it up. Hendricks, 56 points during the regular season, in the top 10 in scoring amongst defensemen. Intercepted, there's David Bolin back on the ice, and that's great news for London. Daniel Ryder moves in, upended by Martinelli. Drummond finds Bolin. David Bolin, wrist shot, no trouble for the netminder, Schantz.
Bit of a change in the power play here, going with 4 forwards. Is Dick Todd, just to go to show you the importance. I mean, a bit of a risk as well. You're in a tie game, and London's very good shorthanded.
Hendricks flips it delicately behind the net. Coletta versus a number 27. Martinelli knocks his man. Ryder to the ice, comes free to Downey. Stephen Downey, here's Coletta off his stick and nearly found the net. Downey again for Reddix. Returns the favor. Downey will fire it in, Mason just enough. Hendricks watched by Foreman. From this angle, I thought that might have turned on the light, but it hit the side, and a long lead pass. Foreman on a breakaway. David Schantz with his biggest save, and then he takes a whack after making the save. And Schantz, as they find their way to their feet here in Peterborough.
What a great outlet pass. Foreman leaves the zone early. He's cheating, and rightfully so. With 4 forwards out there, we just said that they're susceptible defensively. So this puck gets to Pellick. He doesn't even have to look. He knows that Foreman has already left the zone. Fantastic job there by Schantz. The thing is, Peter, when you have a goaltender who's looking around to find the rebound, that invites players to take hacks at you because they still think that the puck is loose. And that's what happened with Schantz. Foreman getting the extra whack.
David Schantz playing the type of goal that he did back in the 2004 playoffs. when he led the upstart Mississauga Ice Dogs to the OHL final before losing to Guelph. He had 5 shutouts in that playoff year.
Tremendous series and a big boost for the Mississauga franchise to get him to go that deep into the playoffs.
Puck caroms off the referee as Shantz was leaving the net to go to the end boards to collect it.
This game doesn't deserve that type of goal.
No way.
It's been dynamite.
Huge penalty kill for the Knights as Arson nearly turned it over, now does. Stahl runs into Kostitsyn and he'll ship it the length. Time for our game review, brought to you by Castrol GTX High Mileage. It helps older cars feel young again.
Daniel Ryder with a pair to increase his point streak to 11 games. Will Robbie Schremp now give him 2 goals and 44 playoff points to lead the Ontario Hockey League. Power plays have played a big factor in this game. Each team notching 2 goals in the power play.
As both teams did with quite a few power play chances. There were 19 of them in game 1 of this series Friday night. Downey, Morrison, and Stewart for the Petes. Center gobbled up by David Boland.
Good support by Boland.
Robbie Drummond, the speedster, gets the shot away. Schremp looking for the rebound. And Robbie Drummond with his great wheels engineers a good scoring chance.
This play is all made possible because of the support of David Boland. He collapses down low in front of the net. That errant pass goes to no one at Boland. And again, that great speed by London. It's one pass through the zone. Drummond uses that speed to take it the distance. Another good stop by David Shantz. Nice work on transition by the London Knights.
3-3 the score. 32 shots apiece. Less than 6 to go in regulation. Jordan Morrison with speed. Morrison still giving chase. Stewart helps out in deep. It's underneath Morrison. Schremp now plays it into the corner where Steve Downey takes over. Downey and Trevor Kell, and it belongs to Schremp. Schremp on the tape of Trevor Kell towards Boland, misses him, and this is icing. We'll be back with the remainder of regulation when we return to Peterborough.
The Canadian Hockey League on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Tough to buy entertainment like this. A 3-3 tie. Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series. Peterborough leading 1-0, courtesy of a 6-5 double overtime victory Friday in London. They try to oust the defending Memorial Cup champions, who would love a chance to repeat. Hendricks reverses, but Van der Veeken finds Adam Perry out there with Beaulieu. They've had some good shifts in this third frame. Loose at the side of the net. Hendricks banks it off the boards and finds Jamie Tardif, who's content to play it out. Martinelli hits the linesman at the line. Jordan Stahl back deep in his own territory. The thing about Stahl too, Sam, he's just so calm.
He is. He's got ice in his veins.
Look at this.
Even in that situation, he goes to the ice. Oh, the puck's still there. I'll get it. No problem. Little foot pass.
No wonder he's ranked so highly by NHL scouts. As the net comes off its moorings.
Brother Jared selected by Sudbury. Now Stahl will take it behind the net. I like what he's done here to come back to help out defensively. Van der Veeken gives him a little push, goes to the knees, and again calmly realizing he has an outlet in the corner, gets that pass out before Peterborough is able, or London rather, is finally able to get the stoppage. George Stahl started the year as the 4th-ranked player in Central Scouting, and he has just been so good. You very rarely see movement amongst the top 10 players. He's jumped 2 spots now to being the number 2 rated player in North America as far as skaters are concerned in the upcoming draft. Someone will be very lucky to get his services.
10 goals in the playoffs, riding a 6-game point scoring streak coming into today. Coletta has his 8th of the playoffs. Boland He has 13 in the postseason. David Bolin cutting laterally. Look to slide it back the other way for Dylan Hunter. Here's Coletta. Patrick Coletta with Ryder. And Sescon had moved up on the play, but Trevor Kell back defensively. Reddix. And the puck squirts loose to Jordan Foreman. Ridden out by Sescon. Under 4 to go in regulation. Arson scored 2 overtime winners. The only 2 goals Arson scored in the regular season were both in overtime, both on the road, and a week apart in Sarnia and in Owen Sound. Maybe he'll be the hero today. Coletta redirected, but wide off the stick of Daniel Ryder. And he's had a terrific game with his 12th and 13th of the spring.
London's top guys playing a lot. If you look at that Coletta, Ryder, and Reddix line, they've been out there a ton in this game for Dick Todd as well. This puck gets turned over by London, and we've seen London do it a couple of times. There's a good example of how Peterborough is able to turn a turnover into transition and getting the puck deep.
Morrison between Downey and Stewart. To the right of young goaltender Steve Mason, playing in place of the injured Adam Dennis. A shocking development just prior to the start of this game. Schremp knocks it out of midair at the line, and it belongs to Hendricks, who flips it to neutral ice. Pellet finds Kostitsyn with Drummond. Robbie Drummond, a quick shot. Stopped by Shantz. Schremp tying up Hendricks, who gets away from. Good play by Hendricks to play it to an open wing. Kostitsyn. Kalash holds it into the line. London pressing a little bit. Here's Drummond, and Hendricks poked that from him. Morrison on the move. Pellick knocks him to the ice. Downey trying to get free. Steve Downey. Morrison and Halash collide one more time. Kick free to Downey. Trying to turn away from Pellick, a pair of first-round draft picks. One by Calgary, the other to Philadelphia. As it's flipped out of harm's way. Stewart knocks down Halash, and Stahl has to wait for Downey to get onside. Under 2 to go in regulation. Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series. Peterborough leading 1-0. Frederick Naslund, a wraparound, loose in front, and who takes it away? Schremp. Kostitsyn, wrist shot. That changed direction. It was like a knuckleball and gave Shantz some difficulty. Pellick hits Poland, and it's called in the offside.
Well, I've been so impressed here in this third period how the forwards for London have been able to help out defensively. And here's Robbie Schremp working behind the net. Now he's able to get the stick lift, and just like that, he's out of the zone with one pass, and then Kostitsyn takes it into transition. It's a shot on goal. Very simply, when you have forwards who are responsible defensively, that can lead to a good transition game, and we've seen that a lot here in the third period for the London Knights.
Rob Schremp breaks it up defensively. He's the reason this game is tied. Second of the game, 8th of the playoffs in this third period at 3:37. After Shantz made a great save off Adam Perry, a turnover in the Peterborough zone. And they continue to have some difficulty keeping the net properly on its moorings at the Peterborough end of the rink.
If I can remember correctly, Peter, I think the same thing happened in the Barrie series, and it was that left post of that net as well.
It was. When we were here for game number 5, the 7-0 triumph by Shantz and the Petes that won the Eastern Conference title for Peterborough. Peterborough has not been at the Memorial Cup since they hosted it and went through the front door as league champions back in 1996 under that gentleman right there, Dick Todd. They ended up losing the championship final to the Granby Bison. Frederick Deschamps shut them out. on a very foggy day in this building. They had to skate around the ice a few times to keep the fog away on a very hot Saturday afternoon, and lost that game 4-0. And it was very heartbreaking because many people felt that Peterborough was the better team in that tournament, but they were forced to play the semifinal, and the next day had to turn around and play the final in the afternoon. And this year that won't be the case at the Memorial Cup, because the first time since the inception of the round robin in 1972, there will be a day off in between the semifinal game and the championship final.
Well, Peter, conversely to that, the London Knights are looking to go to the Memorial Cup for the second year in a row. They too winning the league title last year and going in through the front door, winning the Memorial Cup. If you look at the difference between a year ago, not quite as many wins, goals for per game the same, defensively a lot better last year. And I think the most glaring difference, how many goals, how much output they got from their defensemen. 60 goals last year contributed by defensemen for London, just 11 this season.
Hendricks to Coletta. Finds Ryder. Wrist shot, rebound. Reddick's banged at it, but it never made its way back to the net. Credit Mason for making a good first save.
He is one cool cat back there.
Reddick's again. Nearly danced his way past Trevor Kellwiller into the final minute of regulation. Young steers it, and it comes out. London sitting back in a trap in the neutral zone. Ryder carries on a rolling puck. And Pellick will be content to get it out, but he can't. Martinelli tries the same, and it's chipped out of play by Dylan Hunter. And I know what you were thinking. I just saw your reaction. You were thinking it might be a penalty.
Into the bench area, though.
Had to go above the bench to be a minor with 25.4 to go in regulation.
Steve Mason has maybe had the toughest job all year. People say, well, why? He didn't play very much. Well, in order to be game ready and play behind a guy like Adam Dennis, and then be thrown into this situation, it's an extremely tough thing to be able to do, especially as a 17-year-old. He's reacted very well.
Dawson is shot. Good stick work by Kostitsyn to redirect it into the mesh and out of play.
Talked about Mason taking his team to the Junior C Championships last year, the Grimsby Junior Peach Kings. 30 saves here today, and we can't talk enough about how cool, calm, and collected he is back there. You'd think a guy coming into a foreign building, a building in which he has never played, would be somewhat rattled, but that has not been the case for the young man.
In a spot like this one, can't get more difficult than the position he was put in when Adam Dennis couldn't answer the bell after the warm-up today.
Dennis remaining on the sidelines. Sensational run in the Memorial Cup last year. What he's done in the playoffs, 12-3-1. And I was looking forward to watching him play, Peter, because he seems to respond well after a tough loss like he did in the Guelph series.
One last opportunity in regulation for Peterborough. Jordan Stahl, Hendricks deflects over top of the net, and we are going to require extra time. Second straight time in this series. And down on the ice, after the buzzer went, is Martinelli.
Well, I think Peterborough was looking towards Martinelli to get a penalty at the end of the frame with a cross-check in front of the net. And then at the end of the game, it's Steve Downey, after the whistle had gone, trailing the play, will skate by Martinelli and say, hey, don't knock anyone down. And it gets him in that area that will knock the voice up into the Michael Jackson range.
And Dale Hunter's pointing to the video replay screen saying, Mr. Hutchins and Mr. Hicks, take a look at why Martinelli is down and in some difficulty.
Right in the center of the screen, right at the end of the play, Downey. Ooh, that's not fun.
Not for a single second. Double overtime was required in game number one. Patrick Coletta ended it Peterborough wins in London Friday night at 14:20 of the second overtime. Good to see Ryan Martinelli back up with some help from veteran trainer Don Brankley. And Dale Hunter still would like a spear call on Steve Downey. Robbie Drummond to Sergei Kostitsyn. It nearly ended it. Not so. We'll check in with the Sportsnet News Desk when we return. If game number 6 is required in this OHL Championship Series, we'll show it to you from the Peterborough Memorial Centre next Sunday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. London and the hometown Peterborough Petes. It is 1-0 in favor of Peterborough, courtesy of a double overtime winner Friday in London, and here we are again going to overtime.
Both of these teams made it through their conference finals in 5 games. And if you look at it on paper, you think to yourself, well, they probably had a pretty easy ride through things. But that's not the case at all. London and Guelph hooking up in the Western Conference final, Barrie and Peterborough hooking up in the Eastern Conference final. 2 hard-fought series, about as hard-fighting a series as you can find that only goes 5 games.
And let's show the people at home why this game requires extra time. It was 3-2 in favor of Peterborough entering period number 3 when Rob Schremp ends up making a big play. He starts it by feeding it through to Kostitsyn. The 2 Peterborough defensemen get tied up. Adam Perry is stopped. Rob Schremp is not. Second of the day and 8th of the playoffs. And in the later stages of the third, Matt Pellick short-handed Jordan Foreman, but David Schatz shuts the door, and that's why it's 3-3 after 60 minutes of play. And neither one of these teams have been strangers to success this postseason in overtime. They've had exceptional records. London, we begin there, is 5-1 in overtimes, and here's a look at a couple of their overtime goals.
Go up against the Guelph Storm, and it's David Bolin in game 3 of the conference final, and then Sergei Kostitsyn seals the deal in game 5, and that was the end of that 5-game series that we alluded to coming back from break. A hard-fought 5-game series against Guelph in the Western Conference final, but London seems to have that knack to be able to score goals late in regulation and then get overtime winners.
Yeah, they won one game, game 4 with 2 seconds left, and then they tied that game 5 with 16 seconds left before Kostitsyn won it in overtime. If you think that overtime record is impressive, try their opponents from Peterborough. They're 7-0 in extra time in this postseason.
And a couple of them right here at home. You and I were in attendance for game 3, working on the power play. It goes to Daniel Ryder. Coletta is the one celebrating it all, but it's Ryder who gets credit. Well, Coletta says, hey, I love the glory. Maybe I better get in on the act as well. And he does, beating Dan LaCosta in game 3 of the OHL Eastern Conference final. And they continued to roll from there. Against the Barrie Colts in game 5, it's Ryder, game 4. And then Peterborough was able to come home and wrap things up with a 7-0 win in their 5-game series. And then you go to game 1 against the London Knights. This might be, Peter, where Adam Dennis got hurt. He is post-to-post there. Patrick Coletta gets credit on a shot from behind the net. Look at how he gets post-to-post and quite possibly where he got hurt.
Patrick Coletta has 3 of those 7 overtime winners. Daniel Ryder has 2. Trevor Hendricks has 1. One team 5-1 in overtime, the other team 7-0, and Peterborough a perfect 8-0 in the playoffs and 4-0 at home in overtime in this building. All I can say is, can't wait for more. We are ready for sudden victory overtime, a second straight overtime game in this, the second game of the best of 7 OHL Championship final. David Schatz has been impressive in the contest, and what can you say about this young man, 17-year-old Steve Mason, pressed into duty when London star goaltender Adam Dennis could not answer the bell after the warm-up. And you may have a great point about him hurting himself on the double overtime winner by Coletta on Friday night at 14:20 of the second overtime period.
It's very uncharacteristic for Adam Dennis to allow a goal like that. We've watched him here for the last couple of years. So sensational. Again, playing in a ton of games this year. So obviously something that London's going to have to monitor. He's got good work out of Mason.
Mason forced to make a pretty good save. Beaulieu with David Boland. Boland, no stranger to scoring big goals, and in overtime, he snaps it on target.
He's got such a quick release, and again, look at the speed coming through the zone. Boland gains the line, and the key here is get as many pucks on net as possible. You never know in overtime what can happen. We have seen many overtimes end on not the prettiest goal you've ever seen, so why not put it on net?
And Boland has 2 of London's 5 overtime winners. Coletta has 3 of Peterborough's 7. This gentleman has a pair. Daniel Ryder runs into Dylan Hunter and David Boland. Reddix working hard on the end boards versus Pellick, who's been a tower of strength on the back for London today. Ryder trying to cut in front. Coletta near opportunity early in the extra frame. Boland with Dylan Hunter. Dylan Hunter, wrist shot, kicked into the corner by Shantz. Ryan Young for Hendricks, and he misses Reddix, but it rolls right to goaltender Steve Mason.
Tremendous battles behind the net. Once this line of Reddix, Ryder, and Coletta gains the zone, you'll see the battles that take place. And again, you're seeing tremendous support in the of the London forwards. Pellick gets involved. Reddix goes to the ice. He gets support from Ryder. They continue to work it behind the net. And then the puck is turned over, and that's when Boland ended up getting that shot on goal off the turnover.
Downey for Greg Stewart. He tries to jam it home. Another opportunity before Schremp locates and clears.
Well, London really scrambling here on this since the period has started. Stewart emerges from Arson behind the net. That puck goes out in front. Robbie Schremp gets a little nervous and says, hey, you guys have applied much too much pressure here. We're going to get it down the ice. The icing is called, and London is having trouble finding its legs here in the first 124 of OT.
Off the draw, scooped over the glass and out of play. And boy, you'd hate to see a penalty called like that. Yeah. But you know what? By the letter of the law, if it was ruled that it was straight off a London stick and over the glass, Peterborough would have had a power play, but it was obviously off of a Peterborough stick as a result of the face-off coming outside the line. Downey with Jordan Morrison and Stewart. And there goes another puck into the stands for a souvenir. Jammed in like sardines at the Peterborough Memorial Centre.
Well, Steve Downey, the Philadelphia first rounder, 29th overall. Got started at Windsor, had a very tough start to the year there with the hazing incident and those sorts of things. Went home for a little while, regrouped, got a lot of support from the Flyers organization and Bobby Clark. They were able to work out that deal, and he has been key for Peterborough.
What a performance he put on in Vancouver. Was an all-star at the World Junior Championship. His gold medal performance against Russia, one of the best individual Canadian performances at that event I've ever seen. Downey scoots in, shot on the short side, blockered away by Mason. Drummond steers it, another opportunity finds Trevor Kell. We are in overtime. Game number 2 of the OHL Championship Series with Peterborough leading, courtesy of a double overtime win Friday, 1-0. Kostitsyn just not patient enough to stay onside. That was close.
A very untimely line change by the Peterborough Petes. Everyone coming across the ice to get the line change. Watch all the white shirts take off. Right from this play here, the white shirts, no one even in the picture, and it's just offside as Kostitsyn was a step ahead of the puck, and you see all the Peterborough players scrambling at the end of the play to get back on the ice and into the play.
Good call by the linesman, right on the spot. Puck deflected again, this time into the Peterborough bench. 2:29 into the first overtime.
Bill Hunter has voiced his displeasure with the officiating on more than one occasion in this game. But make no mistake, he wears that game face, but is without a doubt one of the finest coaches in this league and anywhere around. Everywhere you go and everyone you talk to around the Canadian Hockey League holds Dale Hunter in high regard as a head coach.
They do indeed. Such respect for the job that he has done. And with the record, how could you not? And give brother Mark Hunter all the credit in the world for the type of team that he, along with Dale, have built here the last 3 years.
Alec jumped up on the rush a couple of times, not known as an offensive player. Almost got caught there with a stick lift from George Stahl.
He would be an unlikely overtime hero. Scored 1 goal all year against his old Sarnia mates on December 31st. Puck in front, Naslund! He scores! Frederick Naslund! 3:17 into overtime, and the Peterborough Petes enjoy a 2-0 lead, but hold the phone for a minute. They're going to go upstairs because of the collision involving Steve Mason.
As they do on each and every goal scored in the Ontario Hockey League, they'll have a quick check with the offices in Toronto to see if things work out. Now Peterborough, again, breaks through the zone. Stahl pops, and he just flips it towards the net. The first player there is Tardif. The second player following it up is Naslund, but I'm not so sure that Tardif didn't interfere with the goaltender. Maybe instead of, it was Hallish who was in there as well. Both players getting involved. Hallish is the closest to Mason, who knocks him over. Naslund gets in there, and this is going to be one tough call to make, Peter, but Hallish was the guy who originally knocked Mason over.
Frederick Naslund, if it counts, it's his 6th of the postseason, and he's never scored one bigger. And it's over.
And indeed, it's Halash who will be credited with knocking Mason's own goaltender into the net. I want to talk about smarts, Peter. You go in on this rush, and it's Jordan Stahl. He doesn't have a play here, so he says, I'll flip it towards the net. Well, Tardif bumps Hallish into goaltender Mason. That knocks him off stride. Naslund is the trailer, always the dangerous player, and ends up knocking it in. But they won't be happy in London with this for sure.
3 minutes and 17 seconds. In overtime, Frederick Naslund has the London Knights on the ropes, and Robbie Shrimp is not too impressed.